Hari Om, everybody.
Hari Om.
Hari Om Aarti, everyone. Just hold on, let me share the screen.
Hari Om.
All of you sit comfortably, back spine straight. Allow yourself to settle down for the class. Sit upright, check your spine, check your shoulders. How is your sitting bones? Take a wonderful breath, inhalation and exhale completely. Relax the entire body system. Breathe in and feel the cool air entering in. Breathe out the warm air. Inhale and exhale completely. Namaskara Mudra. 3 Oms. Inhale. Sahana vavatu, Sahanau bhunaktu, Sahaviryam karavavahai, Tejasvinavaditamastu mavid vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janmadhyasya yatonvayaditaratah चार्थेष्वभिज्ञं स्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकम् सत्यं परं धीमहि सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् ततो जयमुदीरयेत्।
Namaste. So Aarti, you start with the summary. Let me start sharing the screen.
So I'll try to put everything in context right now, where we are. So let us understand where we are. Parikshit Maharaj is with Shukhamuni on his last 7 days because of his curse. And here he has asked, now Shukhamuni has told he will tell the Bhagavatam so that his mind can always be on the Lord. And Parikshit Maharaj asks this question of how creation happened. How did this whole creation happen? So as a reply to that question, Shukha Muni says, the same question that you asked was once asked by Vidura to Rishi, Maitreya Rishi, and and from there, this is the answer that Rishi Maitreya gave, and he starts off with telling how Varaha Avatara took place. Why Lord Narayana appeared as Varaha Avatara? Because there was a multiplication. Manu was created initially, and from there was no space for all the jivas to live. And when the jivas had to live, because earth had been taken under the water, and Varaha Avatara takes place and brings up the earth so that all the jivas can now inhabit the earth. Now, as part of this, again, Vidura asked the question, please tell me in detail, why did Varaha have to go under earth and bring the earth up, under the water to bring earth up, and why did he have to fight Hiranyaksha? Give me more details. So then the story of the birth of Hiranyaksha comes up, where first it is told about how Diti and Kashyapa, Diti wants to come together with Kashyapa at the wrong time. Kashyapa gives her all the warnings and tells her it's not the right time, but Diti is not ready to listen because lust can completely take over the mind. And that is what happened. And because of that, they came together. But then now Diti becomes a little worried that they have come together at the time when Mahadeva himself would be parading out. That was the wrong time. Will he be angry? Will my children be cursed because of that? What will happen? And all. And Kashyap Muni then says, yes, you will have children who are going to create havoc for this universe. They will be like asuras, but they will be redeemed by the Lord himself. When listening to these words, and then your grandson will become a big devotee of the Lord. Your grandson will be a very big devotee of the Lord. Now Diti says, oh, so because now you have repented for your mistake, you will get this blessing of at least your grandson being a great devotee of the Lord, and the Lord himself will destroy your sons. And that becomes a question of solace for Diti. She says, okay, even now, whatever I have done, I have done. The mistake I have committed, I have committed. It has happened. Okay. So there's not much, no point going back and regretting, oh, yo, the milk is spilled. Oh, the milk is spilled. Why did this happen? No point. What has happened has happened. But she is looking for that silver lining in this whole incident, that it is the Lord who will take my children away. At least whatever will happen, it will happen in the hands of the Lord. So it needs a very evolved soul to even be able to recognize that that is a blessing in a curse that the Lord will be taking. And my grandchild will be a devotee of the Lord. So with this, she will be, and he will be the ideal bhakta who will worship his beloved Lord day and night against all opposition, and he will reach Narayana when he sheds this body made up of the elements. He will have no attachments. He will be good-natured. He will be the home of courage and compassion without malice or anger. He will consider everyone to be like himself. He will have no enemies, and he will be like the moon which rains radiance and coolness on the world. With his gentleness, he will gladden the hearts of men. For his sake, the Lord will make an appearance. Your grandson will be one of the rare few who will see the Lord with human eyes. How beautiful, no? Who will see the Lord with human eyes. So if you... you want to say something, Prabha? Okay. So if you see, even in the scriptures, in the Vedas, and many of our, in the commentaries, even in the Bhagavad Gita and everything, what they will say is the Lord is someone to be experienced. That oneness with the Lord is an experience, but what his form and his is not there for everybody to experience. How does he look? Who is he? What is he? To be able to describe him, he is only described in the negation. He is not this, he is not this. He is nirguna, he is nirakara. All the time, that is how it is given. But here, your grandson will be one of the rare few who will see the Lord with human eyes. He will see him in a form. That is what he says. And also, when one is a bhakta, even a curse, seemingly mistake that happens, which was also a part of a grand design in another way, if you really look at it, right? If you're a bhakta. Even that curse, because you have surrendered to the Lord, you're seeing the play of the Lord. Okay, my Lord will come and take. The mind is always filled with Lord. It automatically becomes restful, even in the worst of situations. Imagine my children are going to be like Rakshasa. Somebody comes and tells, how would you feel? They are going to create havoc. But even in that, because of that bhakti that was there, innately, it settled Diti's mind. And then settled on the fact that my grandson will be a great bhakta and will be known as a great bhakta. Anything else, Prabha, you have to say?
No, I think we can continue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Diti knew that nothing could avert the fate that was to visit her sons because of her foolishness. There was no use in repenting, and she found a semblance of peace at the thought that her sons would meet their deaths at the hands of Narayana and no one else. Again, the fact that her grandson would be a great good man comforted her, and she walked away from the presence of her husband with her head bent and with her eyes full of tears. So Aarti covered this, right? Isn't it? The grand design of Bhagwan.
And also one very nice saying for us, even if we make mistakes in our life, we cannot correct it. But when we cannot go back and correct it, maybe if I feel what I have done is a mistake, it's done, and I just have to say I'll be ready to face the consequences. I place the consequences at your feet, O Lord. At that point in time, also, if you can, no point in saying, "Oh, I made this mistake. Maybe if I had done this, then this would have happened. Maybe if I had not done it this way, then this would have happened. Can I go and change it?" No point in going back and regretting or crying over what has happened. They say, no, crying over spilt milk. That's one thing I think we can learn from Diti here. Okay, place it at the Lord. Whatever, yes, a mistake has happened. Face it, look at it upfront and say, I accept whatever consequences. And when you accept that and place it at the feet of the Lord, you will get a blessing also from that. Like Prahalada being not with that expectation that you will get a blessing, but generally to understand that you can't go and change it. So just place it at the Lord. I'll accept whatever consequences happen.
Here I would like to share, because today morning I received this article. Man thinks he is a doer of his actions, while actually everything is managed from there. The connection is there as well as the powerhouse. Yet people say, I do. Whatever is to happen to anyone, anywhere, at any time is all fixed by him. His arrangement is perfect. Be ever convinced that at all times and without exception, he will do and is doing what is best for you. So one did what one had to do because you cannot do anything, but because the Lord is making you do this. And he makes you do the thing which is at the same time the best possible for the whole, and the best possible for your own progress, and the best possible for that particular situation. So why should you say, I should have, I shouldn't have, everything? This is all rubbish. You understand? Now I am saying this with all the power of the knowledge lived in all the detail. Okay, that is, no, sorry. So, one second. So it goes on. Yeah. So let us have the faith that all in the world is the working of one divine Shakti, that all the steps of the yoga, its strivings and sufferings and failures and successes and satisfactions and victories, are all the workings of the divine. So it's so total self surrender to the divine, to the Shakti in us, we can attain to oneness and freedom and victory and perfection. That is by Sri Aurobindo, actually. So beautifully here. If we are in the place of Diti, doing something, some things in our life, we keep saying that, no, when I talk with many people, there is so much of regrets that I should have done, Prabha. And sometimes what happened, these I should have done, the concept of guilt actually brings about lot of psychosomatic ailments also. So it manifests in somewhere in the body with some health issues. So the guilt factor plays a very, very deadly role in some ailments. And it has been, studies have shown that a particular thought process brings about a particular health issue. So this is where everywhere we think that, okay, this has happened, it was the divine choreography of the Bhagavan, that's it, the choreography has been done by him and I am willing to accept. And that is what Diti did it. So now we will go. So we are going little bit more behind now. Yes.
So, but one thing, see, it doesn't mean I say I do all kind of wrong things and then I say, oh, it is all the Lord doing it to me, and stay arrogant. So here's not that. The idea is, the thing is, maybe sometimes we make mistakes and then I am feeling a little repentant about it, but not to marinate in the repentance. I feel bad. I look at my mistake head on and I say, I'm ready. So just like Parikshit, if you look at Parikshit also, he said, how did I act in that way? How did I put that snake on Rishi's thing? I have done such a big mistake. So he accepts his mistake and he says, I'm ready to accept any consequence that comes my way. And the moment he says that, then this person comes and says, you're going to be bitten. He says, I accept it wholeheartedly. Because I have made a mistake, I accept the consequences. There's an absolute surrender. So she also says, okay, if my children are going to be destroyed by the Lord, they will be destroyed. That's okay, I accept it. So there is repentance, but you don't marinate and keep, living in it. You say, okay, it has happened. Whatever happens, it's for the best. I let it, I put it at your feet, oh Lord. That's what it is. Because even in the beginning, if you see of this story of this chapter, Kashyapa Muni says, it's good. You are repenting. You are able to see that you have made a mistake. And you are worried what the Lord will think about you. Will the Lord feel well? So you are thinking about the Lord at that point in time. So that is the key.
Very, very beautiful. I remember a story. It's a story of a spider. The spider, it seems, was weaving the web, and the web is a very intricate thing, right? Just like if you see weaving a cloth. So the way it weaved, it's a beginner spider. That is, it's trying to understand the art of weaving the web, and it made a mistake. And the web, a wind blew and the web broke. So immediately the spider thought, okay, so looks like I did the wrong combos. Okay. And then immediately again started weaving the web. Once more the web was weaved. It was almost this time 3/4 full. Last time it was only half done. This time it was 3/4 done, and again a stronger wind came and again the web broke. So again there was a lady beetle who was sitting next to who was little far away, and said that like, aren't you feeling sad that your web is keeping on breaking? What is this? You should really be, I'm so surprised that you're not even getting angry also. You're continuing to do the web with the same enthusiasm, with the same this thing only. So the spider said that, you know what, I just understood that I did the wrong combo. So what is the point of sitting and thinking about that, and I thinking about it and regretting what I did. I have to anyway do my actions. Let me do my actions with equilibrium, and let me do the web again. So the spider again did the web, try to understand what all mistakes it did for the previous two times, and then this time it made the web and saw a huge wind came, but the web did not break. So, and then the beetle said, wow. So the beetle said, I'm so inspired by your this thing. So basically, I think it was told by one Swamiji, but it was an indication that instead of sitting and ruminating and, like she said, the marinating, we just understand what was the thing I could do better next time. Can I learn from it and maybe continue instead of ruminating in the inside that. So the 24th chapter is a very, very interesting thing, because from here we understand the role of so many other major characters. In a womb, the sons of Diti were growing rapidly. The poor woman was afraid for the Devas and for the world. So you know why she was afraid for the Devas. So she tried to retain the children inside her and would not let them be born. So they stayed inside her for 100 years. Then a wondrous thing happened. The glow of the unborn children was so great that the world became lusterless. The heavens themselves were losing their splendor, and even the Devas looked less like suns alight than they were wont to. The Devas looked less like suns alight. So basically, the Devas lacked the luster. Worried about the eclipse of their glory, the Devas went to Brahma, the creator, and asked him to explain this mystery. He smiled to them and said, there is nothing here for you to worry. Not just now, at any rate, I will tell you the reason for this. Once my son Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana and Sanatakumara went to Vaikunta, the abode of Narayana, with a desire to worship him. They crossed the 6 gates in a hurry, came to the 7th. When they were about to enter Vaikunta, they were stopped. The rishis, the Sanatakumaras, were prevented from going inside. By whom? By Jaya and Vijaya. These two were the doorkeepers, and they stepped in front of the rishis and said, you cannot enter. The rishis looked for a moment at these two who were so handsome, so well dressed, but also at the same time so arrogant. Unmindful of their words, the rishis walked towards the 7th gate and again tried to enter the sanctum. The keepers, Jaya Vijaya, placed their staffs in front of them and said, you cannot enter. The rishis were now definitely annoyed. In their eyes could be seen traces of anger, the younger brother of desire. They looked at Jaya and Vijaya and said, indeed, it is strange that you, who have been in the presence of the Lord so long, should have this undesirable quality in you. We can see that your position by the side of the Lord has made you proud. We curse you to leave the presence of Narayana. You will be born in the world of men, in the world ruled by Kama, lustfulness, Krodha, anger, Mada, arrogance, and all other evils. You will be far away from Narayana, whose nearness has blinded you to such an extent that you insult good men. Shall I stop here, Aarti? Yeah, I think it's the right place. Yeah.
A few points to note. They crossed, now Sanat Kumaras, the 4 Sanat Kumaras. There is one little story before this, which I will tell also. Okay, before the Sanat Kumaras come, now Jaya and Vijaya are the Dwarapalakas of Lord Vishnu. Now, one very interesting point to note here is they are at the 7th gate. Okay, you could also connect the 7 gates to the 7 chakras. The rise, it's the final Sahasrara is or the Vaikunta. Beyond Vaikunta is beyond the 7th gate, the 7th chakra as well. One interesting point to note. Then in this, Jaya and Vijaya are also a denotion of our humans or a jiva's evolution, in the sense of being able to control the senses and the mind. Jaya, Vijaya are representations of the control over your senses and control over your mind. There is another word in Vedanta which is called Shama and Dama. Sama is the control over the mind, and Dama is the control over the senses. Completely, whatever I see objectively. I'm not caught with it. Whatever, my mind is also absolutely looking at everything with clarity without its own stories being spun in it. It's absolutely able to. So that complete control over the mind and the sense organs are represented through these two gatekeepers, Jaya and Vijaya. Now, when Jaya and Vijaya, there is a story where Jaya and Vijaya were doorkeepers, and Lakshmi, now a little bit of that is called the spiritual ego. Little bit of that arrogance has come into this Jaya and Vijaya, that we are the doorkeepers of Lord Vishnu, the Narayana himself. Okay. Now, what has happened that time when even goddess Lakshmi walks in, they stop her and they say, sorry, I don't think you should disturb the Lord right now. He is sleeping. And Lakshmi Devi looks at them and wonders what is happening. But she passes through. And she goes in and she tells Lord Vishnu that, these gatekeepers are telling us, even stopped me from coming and meeting you. Do you think they are, falling a little somewhere? They are getting a little bit of arrogance. And Lord Vishnu says, it's possible. It's quite possible. And she says, don't you want to do something about it and, get them on the right path quickly? He says, no, I don't think I will do it right now, because if you are my better half and you and me, we are not different. So I would not want to react or anything or do anything because something has happened to you, because you and I are not different. But if at any point in time they cause any kind of disrespect to a Brahmin, one who, my bhakta basically, to my bhaktas, then I will definitely take action. So that is when now these Sanat Kumaras, they just wanted to go and meet the Lord. They just wanted to go and meet that place of Vaikuntha, the abode, Narayana, the place of peace, bliss. And at that time, they go there and Jaya and Vijaya are stopping them. What is that? Even when we evolve at that point in time, there could be that. We have to see Shama Dama is there. Control over our senses and control over our mind is there. But the ego has just surfaced. Even if we think, I am able to control my mind and senses. That moment, what has happened? I has come in. The moment I has come, there is that ego and we have fallen. That every moment alertness is absolutely required. Every single moment alertness, and me, that control of the mind, and that moment the ego has arisen and the Jaya and Vijaya have fallen. That is how this whole thing goes. You have anything to add, Prabha?
Yeah, that apart from this, yes, this very beautiful back history. I was also today thought of just prepared a small two slide on the seven gates, since we have already told it. So I just thought I'll again put it so that people understand the role of Vaikuntha also, how they say, right? So I just 1 second, just sharing. Let me get that thing. So I think we have covered this, but I thought this gives a very interesting understanding of who stays in which loka. Some of you might be very curious to know, right? Because sometimes children are also very curious to know who stays where. Okay, so we'll go from the bottom to the top. This is the higher level worlds, so that we know where is Vaikuntha supposed to be. There is what is written in the Vishnu Purana and everywhere. So the Bhuloka is where where we are all now very nicely dwelling here. That is a place where the earth is dwelling. Then Bhuvar Loka is a place of the sun, earth and everything, all the sun, all the atmosphere and everything. The Swara Loka, that is the heaven part, we read in our Amachitrakatha books and all those things, the Amaravati, the Indra sitting there, and all the Apsaras and the Gandharvas and everyone, all the Agni and Varuna Deva, all of them having their meetings and all those things you would have seen in many nice pictures. So that is the Swaraloka. And then the Maharloka, that is the rishis who stays there, and even Markandeya and other the rishis are supposed to be there, the Sapta rishis and everyone. So the Janaloka is the sons of the Lord Brahma. So now you know who are they. The Tapaloka is a place you should think like, okay, I go to my puja room to do my tapas, so you should think like that. So there is the abode of the tapas of the other gods and goddesses. And the Satya Loka is the Brahma Loka. It is also called as the Brahma Loka. It is a topmost loka, and from there you should think that a nice gate is there and enters into the spiritual the Vaikunta. And the lower worlds is I think we have covered it again. So, but again, I thought it's very interesting to know who is staying where, because Onam is also coming. So it will be nice to know that from where is Mahabali coming there. So we say Atala Loka, that is the ruled by Bala, the son of Maya. Vitala Loka, that is the ruled by the god Harabhava in an incarnation of Lord Shiva. So Sutala Loka, that is it is the place where Mahabali stays. So he is also a Rakshasa. I'm sure many of you know the story. Talatala is the place of the demon architect Maya. If you remember Mahabharata, Maya was being asked by Krishna and Arjuna, can you do the Indraprastha? Right? He is one of the most fantastic architect, Maya. And there is a nice story of Krishna, Arjuna and all fighting with the Indra and all to save the Kandava forest. So Mahatala Loka, that is the place of the Nagas, that is the main Nagas, the sons of Kadru, that is the, you could say the Chikkamma or the Badamma of Garuda, say the sons of Kadru actually, that is her sons are all the Nagas basically. So you have Takshaka, you have Kaliya, you have Kuhaka, so all of them, most of the hidden Nagas stay in the Mahatala. Rasatala is the place of the Rakshasas, the Daityas and the Danavas, and the Patala Loka, that is the most lowest territory, that is you should say the Patala, that is also called as a Nagaloka, where we have lot of Nagas there. So this is how it is. And here is where, if you see the Vaikunta, if you could consider that, I was just I try to put some very basic understanding so that it helps us to understand. That is after the higher lokas, that is Urdhva Loka is all the higher material worlds, we saw that, right? Bhur, Bhuva, Suvar, all that. So from there beyond that is the spiritual sky where unlimited Vaikunta planets are situated. So if we could visualize that even during our meditation, it will be very beautiful actually. It gives us a sense of peace. So you should think that it is unlimitedly expanded. So it is so many times bigger than the biggest universe. So that is where, and the Vaikunta is supposed to be the most spiritual part. And it seems what is so great about Vaikunta, there are some people very beautifully written, that is a place where you are not touched by Maya, you are not touched by anxiety, you are not touched by birth cycle, continuation, nothing. You are just absolutely, it is almost a replica, it seems, of the earth. But somewhere it is where you are not touched by all these things, it is absolute bliss. So that is where again there is one person who wrote very beautifully, I think by an ISKCON devotee, he has written very nicely that Vaikunta, do not think it is only a geographical location. So when one is absorbed in the thoughts, feelings towards absolute Supreme Lord and absolutely devoting his time and energy for his service, then one is no longer in the material world. Although he appears that he is in the material world, but in his consciousness he is already in Vaikunta. So this is what it's beautifully I felt. So let us not think that, oh, I have to go to Vaikunta. Here, being in this material world, being away from the clutches of the Maya, clutches of the anxiety, clutches of the attachments, just like Kunti Mata says so beautifully, right? So all those things, I am not being attached to the materialistic things. Then I can absolutely be what do you say, transported into the Vaikunta, so where one forgets the service of the Lord and engages himself in the service of his senses. So then he will be living in this material world, but his thoughts and consciousness is in Vaikunta. So this is where I just thought of sharing it so that it helps us to understand how beautiful the journey is. Yes, Sarthi.
That was very beautifully put, Prabha. If you can go to the Tatala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, not even the lokas. Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha. So typically this, when we read this, it's been nicely put here, right? So we think of some lokas outside. But if we look at these 14 worlds, they are in a way our own mind worlds also. So we will say Bhuloka. Now I have come as a human being, a human. Now I can rise or I can go below. Bhuloka is my human, me being given a chance as a human. They say, as a human being, you have a chance, your evolution, you have come from multiple species, through many jivas to finally take a human birth, and then from human birth, now it is your spiritual evolution, not a physical evolution that will happen. So in that, the mind, if you say Bhurloka, if one's mind is, say, in the Swargaloka says Gandharvas and Apsaras. So there are many people who are creative, singing and dancing and full of creativity, and the mind is always thinking in that term, right? How to beautiful, how to present beautifully in an aesthetic aspect the thoughts that they have through music, through dance. It's a form of creativity. So when that mind is at that level, they are Gandharvas and Apsaras living on earth. So and if your mind is constantly dwelling on the Lord, it is like the rishis, the Maharloka, and you go even higher, at a higher level of divinity, then you are at the Tapaloka, very high, like the Sapta Rishis and all of those people. So they are in the, it's like higher. As your mind evolves to the higher planes within, you get closer and closer to the higher, but all of these planes are still in the material world only. And then finally, even Brahma is in the material plane. He has created, remember, Sarga happened by Narayana. Visarga, Brahma is a jiva, and he takes the knowledge from Narayana, and then he recreates the material world. So even Satyaloka is a part of the material world. And then once, like what beautifully Prabha said, you transcend even this Satyaloka, beyond the Brahmaloka, the mind transcends the material world, then that world is Vaikuntha, which is so expansive. Almost like the 14 worlds, you are operating in all these different worlds probably. But yet, you are not there, because you are in that state of bliss in Vaikuntha at all point in time beyond. And this is all a state of this mind and beyond. Vaikuntha is beyond the state of this mind in a way. And if you go down further, it becomes, if the talas are, if you are too rigid in things, too caught in your ego and all that, we keep going to the lower planes. The mind world, we operate at a basal instinct. We operate like animals. We operate like, at a basal instinctive level with animalistic instincts instead of moving upwards. So then, and we can even become, harmful to the whole earth and other beings when we go down at the Tala level. So we see people at these mind world levels, even on Bhuloka now. When we read news, when we see things, we see people at all these levels. So in a way, we can also connect these with the mind being a part of this material world, and all of these being mind worlds, and then Vaikuntha being beyond the mind. And that's blissful.
Here, it just reminded me of a story of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa when he was with Naren, with Swami Vivekananda. and where he was, it seems he was talking about the role of Vaikunta, and how, because he used to talk every different kinds of subjects with Naren and all of his students. And one day it seems there was a discussion about Vaikunta, the Vaishnava religion and everything, and how the role of Krishna and Radha, and all these conversations were happening. And when he was talking about, he was saying that how that beautiful intense love of Radha towards Krishna, the unconditional love, and like that he was going on talking about. And then he started telling people that, see, it's so important that we as human beings have three choices. Either we have an animal nature, that is, we can be showing having an animal nature, or we could have a human nature, or we have a divine nature. So now what choice are we taking most of the time? So most of the time we are going towards the animal instincts. So those animal instincts are taking us away from because animal, human and divine. So the more you go to the animal side, you're away, more and more away from the divine. And then he started talking, it seems, about that showing compassion. And it seems when he told the sentence that all of you, I want you all to show compassion to every single creature in this world. And suddenly he went into a trance. So it seems he suddenly went into a trance, and suddenly in the trance mode, after some, it seems when he goes into trance, it's like few hours. And when he came back, he said, we insignificant people in this world, we say that I have to show compassion. Where is I here? I have to show compassion to others. My ego is coming high. Array, let us do service to humanity and make sure that every creature is a manifestation of God. There, let there be no I. Oh, Naren, ensure that. So he said that, it seems. And Naren writes a very beautiful letter that particular, the story or the narration by Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, it seems, was so captivating for Naren. And he said that, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa will be, is all, so he's all bhakti outside. So he says, it seems a combo, he's all bhakti outside, but internally he's full of jnana. When you see him, he's always into that bhakti outside, but internally people know him is full of jnana. And here looks like I am outside, externally I am filled with jnana, but internally I have a connection with divine because of my teacher. So that was so very, very beautiful here when we start understanding the importance of Vaikunta, the importance of being connected with the divine. Where is my animal instinct? What is my human instinct? What could be my divine way of interacting with this world? Is so beautiful here. So shall we move on, Aarti? 1 second. Anyone wants to share here? Anyone feels like sharing? Please, this is the right time to share anything someone wants to share.
Just wanted to say, when we say animalistic instinct, a typical animalistic instinct is fear, flight, fight. 3 things. When something happens, fear comes in. And then as a reaction, either I fight or I flee. These are, and basic survival. I eat, I reproduce, I live. That's it. Procreation, I eat, and this at a basal level. To move beyond this is to be human, and to move beyond that is to be divine, where now you are seeking the Lord. When you are a human, you are now thinking a little about others. Let me give some money to the other. Oh, this person is poor. Let me help a little. Those are human tendencies, a little bit. When we move towards divinity and start seeing the divine in everything, then we move from Asura quality to Manusha quality to Deva quality. Very nicely brought up.
Thank you. So I think now you all of you have understood that Jaya Vijaya now were cursed by the Sanatakumaras that you have to leave the presence of Narayana, and now you have to be caught in the world of Maya, in the world of men, where it is ruled by Kama, Krodha, Mada, all the Arishadvargas there. So let you be caught by all these things, so that you are more far away from Narayana. So you are far away from Narayana, whose nearness right now has blinded you to such an extent that you've started insulting good men. Over to you, Aarti, to read.
So there that line comes, the moment ego arises, right, in Jaya Vijaya, that arrogance that we are the Dwarapalakas of the Lord, which means we are good in my Shama and Dama, very good in my, I'm unable to control my senses, control my mind. That moment comes, the moment that I comes up, that ego comes up, immediately all the vices, Kama, Krodha, Mada, Matsarya, all of this capture. In a way, that point was also very beautifully brought out. I don't remember who spoke about it, but Sita Mata is a representation of the Jivatma, and Ramachandra is a representation of the Paramatma. Now, when Sita Mata, she is very happy whether she is in the forest or she is in the palace, as long as she is with Rama. As long as the Jivatma is completely with the Paramatma, wherever you are very, very happy. Now, what happened? One moment that Jivatma, Sita Mata, turned, and that desire for the golden deer came. That when the desire for the golden deer came, when basically there was a desire for the I need to protect this thing, that golden deer came. Then what happened? The 10 vices in the form of Ravana comes and takes over control over the Jiva. The same points are brought out through multiple stories. So here also Jaya, Vijaya, they are falling, and immediately, because their ego arised, and then Kama, Krodha, they become, we will see what they become. Kama, Krodha and Mada takes over them the moment ego arises. So our ego is our only culprit, and the only way to come out of our ego is to completely surrender it at the feet of the Lord.
Wow, yes. It seems in Ramayana, everywhere, even when Hanuman was in search of Sita, again, last time also was saying, it seems that after he crossed the ocean, there was a sense of little I-ness came, it seems. I have to search, I have to search. And suddenly a point came that he realized that it's all about I have to search. No, this is, I have to search Sita. I have to search Sita. And suddenly he realized that alertness, remember that alertness came into Hanuman, and he realized that his ego was rising. And then he suddenly said, oh Bhagavan, I knew now why am I not able to find Sita? Because there was I which is coming in between. Now I am completely surrendering. Now you show me your Sita. So the moment he gets that kind of that viveka, that you show me your Sita, immediately he meets Vibhishana, and all this beautiful turn of events happens, and then he meets Sita Mata and all that. So again there's a point when once more, when he set the fire into the entire Lanka, once more he realizes that I have set fire. It seems that there kind of a one sense little bit came, it seems. And then suddenly the one tension came. Did Sita Mata also got succumbed to the fire? And once more he surrendered. Oh Bhagavan, see, again I got influenced by the anger, that I got completely blinded with that. And now I understood how everywhere it is your grand design. Oh Bhagavan, I really hope, I'm sure that you would have kept Sita Mata free. And of course he met Sita Mata. So everywhere we have to remember that even Jaya Vijaya, the people, the doorkeepers also, sometimes the devotees, the doorkeepers, everyone also gets succumbed to that ego. So these Bhagavatams and all these beautiful chapters here is all they're giving us this wonderful, subtle, wonderful lessons. So let us not take it only as a story wise. Let us take the learnings from there and start being alert and conscious. So Over to Aarti for reading it.
So, overcome with horror at the fate awaiting them, Jaya and Vijaya fell at their feet and prayed for forgiveness. The rishis were sorry for them, but they said, "We cursed you since we felt that you both deserved it. But we will modify the curse. Your births will be such that the Lord will dwell in your hearts all the time because of your hatred for him." The two placed their hands on their ears, saying, "Shantam Papam," and exclaimed, "Hatred of the Lord? Hatred? How can that be possible?" And tears rained from their eyes. Lord Narayana appeared there at that moment. The rishis worshipped him. The two young men held on to his feet and would not get up. The feet of the Lord was drenched with their tears. He asked them to rise up. He looked at the young rishis and said, "These servants of mine have insulted you unaware of your greatness. It is but right that you should have cursed them. I approve of your action. Any fault of a servant reflects on the master, and so, on their behalf, I beg you to pardon me. No one is more dear to me than a bhakta, and when that bhakta is insulted, I am very angry. Let them be born in the lower world as you have ordained, and they will come to me later." Slightly ashamed, we will continue, right? A little, we will. Slightly ashamed of themselves for their short temper and the hasty curse which they had pronounced on the young men whom the Lord obviously loved so much, the rishis were confused as to whether the Lord was reprimanding them for their lack of control. Knowing what was passing in their minds, Narayana said, "Please do not be upset. I really do approve of this entire incident." Relieved by the reassuring words of the Lord, the rishis worshipped him and went away. Narayana turned to Jaya and Vijaya and said, "I can retract the curse of the rishis, but I will not do so. The curse of Brahmins should not be ignored. Both of you must be born in the world of men. You will have 3 janmas. In one, Krodha will be the cause of your downfall. In the next, Kama will overshadow your actions. And in one, Mada will rule your actions. But let me assure you of one thing. You will be killed by me and only me. You will finally come back to me. You will hate me with an inordinate hatred. That is also a yoga in which you will think more of me than if you had been my bhakta. This is Sambhrama Yoga. This Sambhrama Yoga will be your special privilege, and you will be granted release from the 3 janmas, which will last the end of Dwapara, the 3rd quarter of time.
There is one more thing is there, I think in other book there where Narayana gives them 2 choices. Either you are born as 3 births where you are completely hating me, and I will as Rakshasas or as carried away with Kama Krodha Madha, and I will liberate you, or you will be born for 7 births as my bhaktas. So now you choose. So there is one more story in parallelly by other places also, but and Jaya Vijaya decided that at least 3 births only, no, but we are also still hating Bhagavan, but only 3 births. Let me not be so separate from Bhagavan for so many births. So there is one more version of that story too. So yes, Anantakumara rishis were very interesting because they were in front of Vaikunta. That is, remember that a guest has come and you have your security guy. Your security guys are standing there and they don't do their job well, and the guest is firing the security. Suddenly, the owner of the house is coming, and then suddenly the guest is feeling very awkward. Who am I to, interfere with the security fellows? So suddenly the Sanatakumaras are somewhere feeling little awkward. That have I cursed because of my own lack of control? So look at their own alertness and the awareness there. So their absolute lack of I-ness there. right? And then when the Lord comes, the owner, that is the right, the Lord comes, they themselves feel little, their sense of feeling that, okay, was it right of us to do this action of cursing this these two security people? So, and then Lord, the Lord is again the grand design. He knows everything, what goes on internally, what goes on externally. He kind of reassures the Sanata Kumaras that, you know what you did was right. Again, he kind of reassures to them that absolutely you are what you did was absolutely right, because I am absolutely not, do not like if anyone insults my bhakta. That's it. So that is the major thing. Anything else, Bharti?
So one thing is the spiritual ego. Even in my spirituality, the ego can come up, and the ego comes up, it will. And in my ego, when my ego comes up, in that, if we insult or humiliate a bhakta of the Lord, it's a very big, see, the higher your spiritual growth, the higher the responsibility also. And even one small miss can become a bigger thing. But here's something I wanted to, the phrase which is not there in this, but it is there in Tejomayanandaji's commentary. He says, in this commentary, it is written that, he says, you, Jaya Vijaya, will take 3 births, but I will take 4. And even though you are there, you are taking 3 births, I will not, instead of being in Vaikuntha, I will also be with you. He says. So, to really understand this in another way, it is we had once spoken about having the Deva qualities and Asura qualities being within us. So now what happens is the Deva qualities that we have imbibed, that bhakti, if I have, those become deep samskaras and vasanas within us. The Lord is residing within me. In that, if I have, sometime I err, I make a mistake, I will face the consequences of that. But that spiritual impression that has strongly taken a deep impression in as my samskara does not leave me. The Lord comes with me as that deep samskara, and I don't lose it completely. Maybe I have to face the consequences of my actions, but he still doesn't leave me. And he comes to redeem Jaya and Vijaya, comes to support Jaya and Vijaya again, so that they can again rise and go back to that Vaikuntha and be there with the Lord at all point in time. So not to be too scared, all of this we will do, but then what if I lose everything with one mistake? That samskara, that Deva quality, that bhakti that we put in as a seed, in as our vasana and samskara within us, never leaves us, and it is always there within us and will come to our rescue. The Lord will be there with us to get us out, even though we are in there. So, and beautifully here also, if you see the first 2 avatars, anybody wants to do a guessing game here? First birth they take as because of karma, that will be their overshadowing Krodha. First one is Krodha. In one it will be Krodha, the second is Kama, correct, and the third is Mada. Anybody wants to do Jaya and Vijaya when they are born? Who are they born as? Anybody knows? You can put it in the chat, or you can unmute and tell.
We already covered one story.
Yes, we already covered one of the stories.
Hiranyakashipu, Kumbhakarnan, Ravanan, Dantavakran, Shishupal.
Correct. Exactly. So Jaya and Vijaya are born as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. To redeem Hiranyaksha, Lord came as Varahavatara. To redeem Hiranyakashipu, Lord came as Narsimhavatara. Yes. No, it was Dantavakra and Shishupala, actually. In the Dwapara Yuga, Lord Krishna comes to redeem Shishupala and Dantavakra, and it was Ravana and Kumbhakarna in the Treta Yuga. Lord Rama comes and relieves them. So we have been looking at until we know the story of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, we have been looking at, Ravana is a bad person, they're a horrible person, Kama, under the influence of Kama, and this and that. And as we have been growing, we have grown looking at all these, listening to all these stories, and we have these impressions. And then the moment you see the story of Jaya, Vijaya, and see this whole play of karma, and how this whole law of nature works, it's then you say, can I really, if another person, we are so judgmental about people, but maybe there is some other story behind them in their lives. Am I even right to, maybe that person is actually an evolved soul and has very little to redeem and is here in front of me, and I think I am a better person than that person. For all you know, that person may be more evolved than me, and I will be thinking in my ego that I am more evolved in that person. Can we even judge another person? The whole play of this Maya is so complicated that I cannot judge anybody. All I can say is I don't understand. There might be so much to this whole thing. Who am I to judge this person? The only person I can see in this person is, the only thing I can see in this person is the Leela of the Lord. That's it. So then I don't judge anyone. I cannot. Now when I look at Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, will I look at them as those bad asuras, but they were actually the Lord's gatekeepers. Such big bhaktas, and they were blessed to have been killed by the Lord himself. Right? So in my life also, people are working out of their own vasanas, their own whatever. We don't know what they were in the previous janma, why they are here, why they are acting in that way. And I am acting out of my own vasanas. So am I really looking at them in the right way? Am I looking at them through my own stories, my own filters? How can I even judge another person? I can only accept them as they are, as creations of the Lord. Sorry.
Yeah, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa again tells, it seems to Naren, one more thing about Ravana. Very interesting. Just one sentence he says. See, Ravana took so many different, he uses Maya at so many different disguises. He goes to Sita, right? But you would have seen that he never took the disguise of Rama. So he asked Naren, why do you think so? Then Naren could not kind of get that. Then he said, if Ravana took the form of Rama, he knew that if I take the Rama in Rama disguise, then I will be so lost in Rama that exquisite beauty of Sita will not be captivating for him, because he will already be with Rama's presence only. So that is the way, that is why Ravana never took the disguise of Rama, or even never called him also that Rama. He never even said Rama. That tapasvi, like that only he used to keep saying. He never used to call him by name also. So because he knows that by even calling he might get, it seems he could get into the feeling of being connected to the divine, and the grand design was made in such a way that he acts with the overpowering the factor there, like that.
And also you could have any kind of rasa flowing through you. Hate. Say that being born as a Brahmin is a better evolved. See, a Brahmin we have to understand in context. One thing is Brahmin being born in a Brahmin family, that is by birth. But a Brahmin, when mentioned here, is a bhakta, one who is reveling in the Lord at all point in time, is of that supreme quality. It can be anybody from birth. It doesn't have to be somebody who was born in a Brahmin family. So now when you were born in a Brahmin family, you have a certain dharma of carrying on the culture, learning the Vedas, and keeping the culture alive. So that becomes more about karma, what your karma should be. But at a jnana level, a Brahmin, at a jiva level, a Brahmin is one who is reveling in the Lord at all point in time. So here, who is basically a bhakta, an ultimate bhakta of the Lord. So such people are called Brahmin. So when the Lord says, I will not, tolerate anybody, doing this to a Brahmin, he's talking about bhaktas in general. It's not the birth Brahmin thing. In fact, birth Brahmin, now to birth Brahmin, we are living like Shudras, sometimes we are living like Vaishyas. So, we go and do business. It's very different. One more. Okay, we can move on. I forgot.
Yeah, we have last 2 paragraphs, so we can finish this chapter. Huh?
Yeah.
The Lord vanished from their sight and they descended to the earth. These servants of Narayana, concluded Brahma, are lodged in, that Brahma is telling the Devas, why is a glow happening in the Diti's abdomen area, the womb area? This is what it is. So I hope you all remember that, right? So these servants of Narayana, concluded Brahma, are lodged in the womb of Diti, and it is their glow which is eclipsing the glory of the earth and the heavens. There is no other reason for it. After 100 years, 2 sons were born to Diti, the twins. Their father called them Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashyapa. Their birth was attended by several evil omens, which indicated great calamity for the world. So it is next class we will take the killing of Hiranyaksha.
I was just remembering that one point. Any rasa, even in hate, you are thinking about the Lord all the time. You're thinking about the Lord. In pity, in self-pity, you are thinking about the Lord all the time. In distress, you're thinking about the Lord all the time. You're thinking about the Lord. That is also good. In anger also, you think about the Lord. As long as in all of this, if that ends up reminding you of the Lord, that itself, Lord, He's taken a strong seat in it doesn't matter what kind of rasa is flowing towards Him. Whatever, you can even go and say, why are you doing this to me? Oh God, this is my life. It's okay. But you're thinking about the Lord. That has taken a strong seat. Others may come and tell you, why are you all the time lamenting and blaming God? But basically, you're remembering Him. And then somewhere that surrender, when it comes in, that is the important point. And we just have to remember. So they were hating Him, but in that hate, they were remembering Him all the time.
Yeah. So shall I end with one small story here? So that in that time, if any song coming across for you, we can do it. It's a bhakta went to a siddha and asked, Sir, give me 3 advices, what needs to be done. I really want to be connected to the divine. So the siddha said 3 things. Be alone, be awake, be hungry, be alone. 3. Okay, so remember that. Be awake, be hungry, be alone. Okay, so he said okay, and then he thought, okay, so that means I have to be alone. Okay, so he left all his family, went to a top of a mountain. He decided he will stay all on his own. Then he said, be hungry. Okay, that means I will not at all eat. Let me just sit and pray. Oh, be awake. That means I should not at all sleep. So without sleeping, I'm going to do. So he did one day without eating, being awake, being alone. Second day, third day. By that then he was trying to do japa also, but things are happening in his stomach, sounds are coming from everywhere, wild animals being around. He was absolutely unable to concentrate on japa, and hunger was, and thirst and hunger was so much, and even the sleep, he was awake for so much time. So what happened, one day the 6th day he woke up, he sat where he was sitting, he got up and suddenly he tumbled and fell off and got completely bruised, and with so much of anger he went back to the siddha. He said, what kind of advice have you given me? You told me to be awake, these 3 advices, and see how I have got hurt. Is this a kind of an advice? Then the siddha said, see, you took it as as face value. So what did I say? Be awake. Be awake is be always be alert. Have that alertness within you. Become aware of the God consciousness within you. So that is what I said. Be awake. Awaken the fire. Awaken or kindle it within you. And be alone is where I am saying it. You are amidst in this material world, but you're completely detached. So ensure that you are standing in the middle of the crowd, but you're not putting your wings or putting your thread anywhere and binding it towards you. That is where I said be alone. Be hungry. What am I saying? It to be hungry. Hungry to be with Bhagavan. Hungry. Absolutely. You are just having that inner aspiration. It just comes within you that you have to be with Bhagavan. You are to be in touch with Bhagavan. I want to think and sing and the glories of Bhagavan. So that inner aspiration, are you hungry? Are you hungry for that? So remember, that is where the three very beautiful role: be hungry, be awake, and be alert. So all these three so important for all of us, isn't it? So I think in that way, if we could end this class, it will be a very good takeaway messages. So many takeaways today, I think so. So Aarti, over to you. Any
We are here to remember the Lord. Let's chant his name 16 times and we will end the session. Yes, while lamenting to God, after some time, we do feel peaceful. We'll chant Om Namo Narayanaya. Please visualize the Lord. You can visualize the feet of the Lord. And my head at his feet. A sense of surrender. A sense of acceptance of his Leela. The moment I accept everything that's happening as his Leela, there is a feel of calm within me. And with that calm, my mind empty, my body relaxed. Let's chant his name. Om Namo Narayanaya. 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 Om Namo नमो नारायणाय। ॐ नमो नारायणाय। ॐ नमो नारायणाय। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।